difficult. The victims in this case, when it started, probably had more contact with me personally than any that I can remember. They talked to my victim advocate. They came in and discussed this case with me, and I talked to them on the phone several times. They told me at the beginning of this case that they thought their son was going to kill them. And they told me that numerous times. They were very concerned. He then went out to the property to get the trailer with the police. They contacted me and discussed that. They were very concerned about their health and well-being. They talked about leaving their home. As the case progressed, they then decided that they didn't want to go forward with the case and it should be dismissed. This is not the first time I've dealt with them in this situation. We had a case a couple of years ago with domestic violence. The same situation happened. It wasn't as severe, and it had been dismissed for mental health. Mr. Poirier has a long history of mental health. He's 38 years old, but he has a juvenile record, 10 misdemeanors, 8 felonies. He has a very long assaultive history. He definitely has mental health issues, but he does not address those. His parents were the people who told me at the beginning of the case that he had quit going to all of his mental health treatment and he had made that choice himself. So we are stuck with a situation where the recommendation, frankly, is probably not going to work. Putting somebody in for 12 months with no time over their head just doesn't work. I think the recommendation would be better crafted to be a prison sentence that would allow him to get out with a mental health hold, which is similar to the prison sentence he just got out on, and would offer him much more services for his mental health.
He's self-medicated. We see the behavior a lot. Frankly, self-medicating with alcohol, there's very few situations, period, where alcohol makes it better. Our decision-making.
This case stopped being just about criminal charges a long time ago. The prosecutor is basically describing a man trapped between violent behavior, untreated mental illness, and alcohol abuse, a combination courts see far too often.
Never gets better there. It certainly doesn't help mental health issues. The right approach act if there's a violation. And I think that a blended sentence, having some jail up front, some held in abeyance, and to allow them to engage in the community mental health diversion plan is the right response. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poirier.
I agree with you 100%. I'm not a violent person, and if I've been a violent person, it's because I drank and I didn't feel right. I'm just not a violent person. If you give me a chance to be in the community, show you that I can do right.
All right, well, I read through the report, Mr. Poirier, so I'm familiar with what happened in this particular case. I did get the information from your family, the letter that was submitted, the information from CNH and so forth that was submitted with the report. So I've read through all those materials. I'm also familiar with your history and your background. And so I tried to, and I listened very carefully to what counsel had to say, which they take very opposite positions, but I think they both agree that some continued mental health treatment is absolutely necessary. I think the question is where from the court standpoint, which is completely different from, a social work or, a mental health treatment standpoint, we're here to deal with criminal conduct, and where the court can facilitate help with the underlying causes of that conduct. So those are kind of what I'm presented with, and they're both reasonable positions to take. So I look at both of those options, and then I also look at what has happened in the past, and what happened here, and what was your behavior here. And it's clear that for whatever reason, whether you're under-medicated, over-medicated, whether you just stop taking your medications, which there are some indications in this report that that's what happened. It's clear that this incident was brought on by mental health issues combined with the use of alcohol, and I think just some underlying issues that you do have. And when I look at your past history, that's certainly borne out. This is your 6th time being charged with a domestic violence offense. You've got 2 prior charges for aggravated stalking, fleeing and eluding, resisting or obstructing, assault by strangulation, It's not like
And this is where the judge's patience runs out. 6 domestic violence cases, assault charges, stalking, probation failures. The court isn't looking at one bad incident anymore. It's looking at a lifelong pattern.
if this is your first assaultive offense. You've got a long history of that going back to juvenile offenses. So, you know, I can appreciate that when things are going well, you're not a violent person, but you certainly have exhibited throughout your lifetime violent tendencies. And whether that's attributable all or in part to mental health issues or just self-control, I don't know. I don't know that anybody does. But there certainly is plenty in your past history to suggest that you do have violent tendencies when things aren't going right. I also look at what kind of prior sentences. You had 4 prior terms as a juvenile on probation. You had 5 prior terms as an adult on probation. And at some point, the court has to recognize that continuing to do the same thing over and over again when it's not working is not appropriate. And so for all of those reasons, I don't think probation is appropriate in this case, and I don't think a local sentence provides the best option for you going forward. And I don't think it provides the best options for the community. I think having you remain in the community, given your history of violent conduct, is dangerous. And prior attempts to supervise you in the community have not been successful because you're continuing to reoffend. So for all of those reasons, I do think a sentence at the higher end of the guidelines is appropriate. It addresses the conduct that you engaged in this case. It recognizes past failures and your past history. And I think it's a reasonable sentence. The court is going to sentence you to 5 years. You have credit for 136 days served. The court is going to order a crime victim's assessment of $130, court costs of $325, attorney fees of $350.
That final emotional plea from the family says everything. They don't deny his problems. They're begging the court to treat the illness behind them. But the judge ultimately decided public safety outweighed another chance in the community.
Mr. McFeld, I'm going to assume, based on prior sentences, he's already had DNA testing.
Can I say something, Judge? I'm the father. Can I approach you?
You can stay right there and you can tell me when you like.
I think that he deserves a different sentence than what you're giving. I don't think he needs to be sentenced to prison. He can be a good person. What happened with us was out of hand, but like he said, it was in a fall and everything. He can do right. He's on the right legs. He really can. I don't feel a fear from him when he's normal like that. You know, like you said, he self-measured himself. And I think he deserves a break in society and do what he has to do. He can do that if he stays focused. I really think he deserves that. Prison's incarceration is not going to do any good. He's been there before. They didn't turn out good. They almost killed him down there. He almost died. The same thing's going to happen again. It doesn't do no good to lock him up. You don't get no help down there. They lock the key, throw you away. They do nothing. Don't help. Out here, you can get more help. What he needs, he has mental issues. That's what needs to be addressed. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate your opinion.
No.
I'm sure he's had DNA testing, Judge. We're kind of not understanding fully if we're supposed to recommend that on every case or not. We've had kind of different opinions on that. So,
I understand. A $68 state cost. We need to take a break, Steve. We need to take a break.
It's right there.
I know, but are you all set with?
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right.